That's right. Welcome to our Sunday gathering today, one and all. We're so grateful that you're here. I'm Sandra Champlain. If we haven't yet met, I'm joined by the wonderful medium and friend, Tim Southwell. That has to be one of the coolest opening videos to our Sunday gathering. Anybody else feeling that unbreakable spirit like you're titanium, or maybe you feel like you need a little rescuing? Wherever you are today, you're in absolutely the right place. We're in our sixth year now. My friends and I come together each week, along with you and the spirit world, to show, yes, the evidence of the afterlife, but to empower each other to live a great life, help through grief, and just be that community. And it's funny. I say that we are perfectly imperfect here on the Sunday gathering, and life gives us a funny way of giving us examples. And you saw the Saint Bernard there in the beginning, and sometimes we need rescuing. I had a little adventure of my own last night. My favorite laptop that I've used for, the past 6 years. I went to close it, and there was a pen inside, and I broke the screen. So thankfully, my old standby computer has come to the rescue. It's slow, it doesn't work so great, but it gave me an opportunity to learn some new things. I'm definitely not a victim. I am a thriver. I am titanium. So, as we explore our Sunday gathering today, Tim will be kind enough to do the opening and closing prayers for us. Join me in a conversation style address and then also our demonstration of mediumship. I will read the reading for you today, lead you into healing, join in the address and a few of the behind the scenes things as well. Tim was grateful, or I'm grateful that Tim picked our music for today. And out of it, the theme just arisen, whatever the word is, rose from the music. So you'll see the parallels between the music that we have today, the meaning in the music throughout our reading and throughout our discussion for our address. Our address will be interactive between Tim and myself, but I'll be throwing out some questions to you just to answer for yourself. And we'll just have a interesting kind of Sunday gathering, never been done before, just like never hearing titanium before. So, with that, I'm going to send it over to Tim for our opening prayer. And welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you for having me back as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is kind of exciting. It's different, so that anything different, um, usually it can be really exciting and thrilling. To start us off, I invite us all to join in our opening prayer. And if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes as we do this as well. So, Great Spirit, we are so thankful that we can draw together yet again for another meeting on a Sunday. It's fantastic that we can find the time to at least appreciate what's out there, what we don't know necessarily, and that we're willing to explore for at least an hour or two, and that we can do it with camaraderie, with people who are like-minded, who are seeking as much as we are. And we just ask too that you look out for us, that you keep us in mind and allow us to have an open mind to consider some of the things that we may be hearing and some of the thoughts that we may be carrying with us as we go through the process of today, so that we can go from here to there as part of our progress and part of our journey. And we give thanks again for this opportunity. Amen.
Thank you very much, Tim. Okay, the reading I have prepared for you with the theme in mind of our silent rescuers and our unbreakable spirit. It's about those moments when we feel broken or lost and the unexpected help that arrives to remind us the incredible strength that lies within. This reminds me of a parable about a tiny, forgotten seed and its long journey to the sun. In a forgotten corner of a vast field, a single seed lay buried deep beneath the cold, hard earth. It was dark, it was silent, and it was utterly alone. Above, it could faintly sense the world, the warmth of the sun, the rumble of distant thunder, the dance of the wind. But down in the darkness, it felt trapped and forgotten. In its solitude, it whispered a silent prayer into the soil, A simple plea for help, for just one drop of rain, for a single glimmer of hope. It was a call for rescue. For a long time, nothing happened. The seed felt its own frustration, angry at its broken situation, stuck in the dark. But then it remembered a truth whispered on the wind. Sometimes a broken path is what leads you on a great adventure. The seed decided to trust. And as soon as it chose trust, the help began to arrive. It started as a feeling, a gentle warmth in the soil that felt like a loving hand, a memory of a loved one who had long since returned to spirit. Then came a sign only the seed would understand. A tiny earthworm burrowed past, and in that momentarily it created a tunnel, and a single brilliant ray of light shone through it, the exact color of a flower its ancestor had once been. It was a message. We are here. We see you. Then came the first drop of rain, a silent rescuer, like a tear of compassion from the sky that slowly seeped down through the earth and touched the seed. It was not a flood, but just a touch, just enough. That single drop awakened a tiny ancient spark of life within. And in that moment, the seed made a choice. It could remain dormant, safe within its shell, or it could begin the impossibly difficult journey upward. The seed chose to live. It gathered all of its strength and began to push against the crushing weight of the world above, declaring with every ounce of its being, I won't back down. The journey was harder than the seed could have ever imagined. It pushed against sharp rocks that threatened to tear it apart and navigated through dense, suffocating clay. It was hit with the force of the entire world, and every day it felt like it would be broken. But with every push, with every moment it refused to give up, it discovered a strength it never knew it possessed. It realized its core was not fragile. It was an unbreakable life force. It was made of something stronger than the earth that tried to contain it. It was strong like titanium. And then, after a struggle that felt like a lifetime, it happened. The seed pushed one last time and suddenly broke through the surface of the earth. For the first time, it felt the glorious warmth of the sun on its face. It felt the gentle kiss of the wind. It saw the vast, open, endless blue sky. It was no longer pushing, it was reaching. It was an exhilarating release from the darkness, a breathtaking new perspective. It felt like it was flying. The seed was no longer just a seed. It grew a strong green stem, unfurled beautiful leaves, and finally opened its face to the sky as a magnificent flower. It stood tall and radiant, bathed in sunlight, sharing its beauty with the world. It had completed its journey from the darkest depths to the brightest light. It was not just surviving, it was thriving. It was, in its own beautiful way, on top of the world. And isn't that just the story of our own selves and our own spirit? We all have times when we feel lost and in the dark, praying for help. But our silent rescuers, be it from spirit, a friend, or a drop of grace, they don't do the work for us. They arrive in unexpected ways as signs and whispers to awaken the unbreakable spirit that is already within us. They remind us of our own strength so we can find the courage to push through the darkness and reach for our own place in the sun. Isn't that a beautiful reading? Now, friends, we're going to go into our healing. Tim has chosen a beautiful song called Rescue by Lauren Daigle. The song is a powerful promise. It is sung from the perspective of a loving source, be it God or spirit or the universe, telling someone who is lost in their darkest night that they are not alone and that help is on the way. It's a reminder that even when we may feel forgotten, a great love is marching to find us. So I invite you, one and all, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes. And as you listen to these beautiful lyrics, I want you to hold an intention in your heart. We know there's a lot of suffering in the world with maybe yourself and people and places and pets, and so much is in need of healing. So, as the music plays, let's join together and send out our collective love. We can picture the world perfect, whole, and complete, people healed, not focusing on what's wrong, but focusing what's right. And let's let all of our beautiful lights come together and send healing to those in need. So let this song be a prayer for them. And when the song ends, Tim and I will be back for our interview style address. So let me find the song for you as we send healing. Another beautiful song. Well, Tim, first I want to start and say thank you for all the creativity and these wonderful songs.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, the visuals on that last one are amazing. I did want to shut my eyes, and then I didn't want to miss the mountains and the snow and the grass. It's just yeah. And I hope someone does rescue her because I didn't see anyone out there with her.
She's got a whole camera team.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, Tim, with these songs, they each have a real powerful message, and not in the order that we're playing the songs, but we can actually look at the songs and see a real nice path, like those seeds, that seed coming up, reaching for the sun. So, what I thought, ladies and gentlemen, is we'll have a conversation with Tim, but I want you to think about these questions yourself, because I think the best transformation we can give is to look at our own life and see, the stories we have and the transformation we've been on. So, Tim, I'm going to read just a little bit about the song, and I'm going to throw out some questions. Now, you don't have to answer them all. That's not the point, but just if there's any words of inspiration or a story you'd like to share, and then I shall do the same. So, the first song we're going to bring up is the one we just heard. It's Rescue by Lauren Daigle. The song is the starting point for so many of us. It's the moment in the dark when we feel completely lost, like a victim of our circumstances, and we finally whisper that prayer for help. So here's a question for all. Have you ever had a moment where you felt so lost you needed rescuing? Why do you think we often have to hit rock bottom or the lowest point before we're willing to ask for help? And how does invisible help first show up for you? Has it shown up for you? Is it a feeling, a sign, or a person? So, Tim, what do you have to say on this topic of rescuing?
Yeah, those are a lot of good questions there. And I really like the fact that we're doing this organically, so it's no preparation. We're just kind of diving in with both feet. Um, yeah, I'm sure everyone can account for like what is often called the dark night of the soul, or sometimes dark nights. So it comes back again and again, and we have had that struggle. I know a lot of the issue around the struggle often is asking for help. It's not necessarily being self-aware that we need help. And I think self-awareness is going to come up a fair bit in the songs that we have. Um, there's nothing wrong with needing to be rescued. Now, there's always like I was going to mention to you that if you think of a light switch, you know how a dimming light switch, whether it goes up and down or whether it's like a knob that controls right to left or volume, for instance. A lot of life is like that. So I'm putting this rescuing kind of right in the middle because we can go too far, as in almost a poor me, I need rescuing all the time. And if we include our self-awareness, then we're a little bit more aware of our self-agency, the way that we are strong. We look at our attributes. And I think we've talked about this before, you and I on the Sunday gathering, about finding that core within in order to get to that point. And sometimes it does take major falling down to make us stop and look at where are we, who are we, what's important to us. And that to me would be the answer to that clue. What's important to you? And that's like a step on the first rung out of the deep hole we might feel ourselves in. And if we have trouble starting there, it might be okay. What am I not? I'm not this. I'm not that. truth is important to all of us. So we have to really go to the truth of us. So there is nothing wrong with needing that help. If you go to the one extreme, it's poor me. If you go to the other extreme, you become a rescuer and then you try to go out and save every person that's trying to cross the street, whether they want to go across the street or not. Like you're on patrol, making sure the squirrels and chipmunks even cross the street. That's that other end of that dial. So if we kind of dial it back, and there's never really the middle, there are some times where we will need that rescuing, and if we can ask for help for others, that from others, that helps too. And that slip of the tongue is also important. I said help for others. We're over on this side of the dial. We can't help everybody, but we can absolutely keep them alive, reach out to them, see how they're doing, and then let them emerge themselves. They have self-will. They have their own little um, journey to go through, and it's not so little sometimes, but it is theirs. And that's kind of important, just as it'll be ours for that journey. Yeah. And I'll ping pong this back to you then.
Oh, thanks.
What do you
Well, it's
what
funny
do you
'cause you talked about the rescuer, and prior to Sunday gathering and my expedition looking for the afterlife, I was the rescuer. I was generous to a fault, and I didn't realize it, and then when you just said that, like, at the sliding dimmer switch, I'm like, "Oh, I was full blast the rescuer." And I felt my best when I could make a difference for another person, but the problem with that is I never looked at myself, right? It was so much easier to help others and than look at myself, and I don't feel like I'm somebody who asks to be rescued. I feel very, I wanna be comfortable, right? I want life to work just so. You guys heard that my computer broke last night. I'm like, "No!" Right? But it's like, let's look at an opportunity. We know what to do. We know how to fix things, right? And you never know. I'm going to Best Buy after the Sunday gathering to start the process of getting the computer repaired. I get a great dinner with my mom out. You never know who we're going to meet. Hey, my knight in shining armor might be the guy at Best Buy. You just never know how it all works. But I can look at the glass now half full as opposed to half empty. And my deepest, darkest time, many of you know this, was after the death of my dad, not just losing him, but the family fights with my siblings and just hitting rock bottom. And although I didn't say a prayer for help, I mean, I was like down there in the gutters. Like I couldn't go any further down depression wise and all that. It was like that silent rescue came. It was like that voice out of nowhere that said, Sandra, study grief. I'm like, grief. And that's when I found out how our brain chemistry works when we are not only grieving, but prior to someone's passing, if they have an illness. And it really interferes with our healthy centers of our brain for memory, for communication, for perception, for mood. And for me, it was like that light bulb moment. Aha, aha. So my silent rescuers, I think, have just been silently by my side. Never did I know that the darkest time in my life would turn out to give me the best thing in my life. Because here we are now, 281 weeks in on the Sunday gathering. None of this would have happened had that dark night of the soul not happened. And last night I was talking to a friend and she says, "How long are you gonna do this Sunday gathering?" I said, "For as long as I'm alive." And while that might sound like a crazy response, being with all of you and having these conversations and seeing the reality of the spirit world with us in action on our demonstrations, it's that shot I need to remember who I really am. And I am that soul having a human experience, as are we all, that we can ask for help whether it shows up the way we want or not. You may be surprised 2 years down the road to think, "Gosh, if that didn't happen that way, I wouldn't be having a conversation now with somebody who's in their darkest depths." So I think that's what I wanna say about the whole rescue theme, okay? And I hope everybody who's watching at home, you're starting to look at these questions for yourselves. I know Tim's very inspiring. I hope you find a word or two from me that's inspiring. But the growth you're gonna get for your soul, like that little seed I talked about, is when you start asking these questions for yourself. So our next song is going to be Flying, which was the first song we played today by Cody Fry. This song represents the crucial turning point. It's about the moment after we ask for help, the moment of surrender. It's when we stop struggling and allow that loving unseen force to lift us up. So here's some questions to throw Tim's way and your way, everybody. The song talks about a terrifying fall right before the rescue. Why is that moment of complete surrender so essential for spiritual flight? And what does it feel like to be lifted? Can you describe a time when you let go and you felt carried by something greater than yourself? And here's another question. Is this flight about escaping our problems or about gaining a higher perspective on them? So let's turn it over to Tim and see what inspiring words he wants to share.
I'm kind of laughing because I'm remembering a previous interview when you asked the questions, and I don't think I even answered the questions. It just kind of went out with a whole bunch of other stuff, but it was okay still. It was fine, absolutely fine. Yeah, that flying moment. There, I'm a great believer in cause and effect. So oftentimes I know some people struggle and say, why would whomever I believe in let this happen to us? Why would this be something that's allowed to be existing anyway? And yet, I do firmly believe we create our own incident. And whether that's, again, not being self-aware and just kind of trudging on forward and not really stopping enough at stop signs and you eventually hit a car, or whether it's along the lines of, I'm not looking after self well enough. And eventually you get to the point where you're just drained. You have no energy. So there was the cause that I would have to take ownership of myself, leading me to the effect of that fall. Now, so what comes from that, I believe, is part of that progression. And oftentimes we hear it's to learn a lesson. I kind of try to avoid that because we hear that so much. Instead, I'd rather think that it's part of that here to there that I spoke of in the prayer. Our journey will always be from here to there, progression. We can't stop that. That's why there's time, I believe, to kind of measure what it was like before and where I am now, and who knows what will be down the future. So in that fall, that is, yeah, I think that's a natural tendency because of cause and effect. It's a natural law, so to speak. But it does allow us to stop and forces us to look in the mirror or whatever we want to look into and say, I got myself here, or this is a result of something I didn't have control over. So I'm not going to carry that whole bundle with me because I couldn't control what was happening. Instead, that bundle doesn't even need to be here. I can look at what I need. I want to be here now. What do I need to do in order to get to that new spot? I've fallen. What is it that I can do? And again, it's that self-advocacy. I'm a great believer in individuality. Here comes that dial again. I can be so individualistic. I think I can solve everything myself, or I can become so dependent that I let someone else solve it. And both of those have problems. So sometimes we want to be in the midst of leaning one way or the other. We're never in one spot and holding one spot, just like a light would burn out if you held it onto that spot forever and ever and ever. So instead, sometimes we're more individualistic. Sometimes we need to lean on somebody else. That sense of flying, I'll make this really quick because I've gone on quite long there. There was a time, and this will touch on titanium too, where I almost had titanium in me because was in a car accident, broke my femur, completely snapped. And they were talking about putting a titanium rod in to strengthen it. I decided to heal the more natural way. So I didn't become titanium. However, that would have been like a rock solid way of healing that. In that moment, though, I hadn't, you're in the hospital. You have nothing to do other than really look at your life, what's going on. I was only 24, so there's not much life that had happened individually there. Um, but more, where am I now? What do I want to go towards? What do I need to get there? And from that, I did get my first job, and it was a long-term job, and it fit perfectly. There was that upliftment. It was a newspaper article brought in about, yes, newspaper, and it actually listed um, me in that ad. We're looking for this, and I just couldn't believe it. So replied to it and to get that job. There was that uplifting moment. in the dark of the hospital room, yeah, there was a lot of emptiness, empty feelings, feeling alone, even though the nurse is coming in. Still, you're feeling alone and soul searching, wondering whether you made the right steps. How did I get here? I firmly believe, again, we get here because we're meant to, even though we have some choices, free will, absolutely. But there are some big things that I think are meant to happen. This was meant to happen because I can always reflect on it and grow from it. And that newspaper article was, or ad, was the first step. Shortly after that, people I hadn't talked to for years started visiting in the hospital. People that were holding a grudge came in and said, "We're going to bury the hatchet. We don't care about that. How are you doing?" And that it's like the Grinch who stole Christmas, where your heart grows three times. It's just I can remember that feeling of, oh my gosh, they are really doing this just for me. They're making that, step that way. I changed. It changed me, and I carried that forward ever since.
Thank you, Tim. Well, when that song "Flying" started at the very beginning, I was transported to a memory that I haven't had since I was 16 years old. My dad taught me how to fly an airplane. He was a captain for American Airlines. He also taught people how to fly, and we were in this tail dragger airplane, meaning he was behind me and I was in the front. And pushing the power to that place where it's just enough, and then we could pull back on it was a stick, and all of a sudden, there we were flying. And it's was weird that that came in so many years later, so I take it as dad's right here, but that representation of flying is that exhilaration. It's a little bit fear, of course, right? But it's also doing something new with somebody we love, and you heard me say maybe last week or the week before that the best way to create a memory is doing something new with someone we love. And so flying was it for me, and I loved the adventure. I loved going upside down, and I loved all that stuff. I really did. And going back to just my words previously, I'm saying for myself just how I like to be comfortable now, and that for me and maybe for you, um, maybe it's time to stretch a little bit more and find some new interests or do something new with either somebody you love or on your own, or plenty of things we can do on the internet. And as far as that feeling of rescue, there are people that love to serve. They love to make a difference. And if you think of Christmas or a birthday or something, if someone has a gift for you, what do? We accept it. We say thank you. But so often as human beings, we want to say, no, 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 I'm fine. I'm okay. No, no. And could you imagine the person trying to give you a gift? It's like you're stomping all over it. You don't need it. Why not give people an opportunity when you're around people that know other things that you don't know? What an opportunity to grow or to do something new with someone else, an opportunity to grow. So, as much as I'm sharing this with you, I'm talking to myself here because in the last many years since, COVID hit and everything, I haven't been housebound, but kinda here with my mom. But what are some little adventures that we can do? Push the envelope a little and to be in that place to allow people to serve us. Somewhere along the line, I thought all answers had to come from me. A short memory that I have also is years ago, I took a public speaking class and I practiced my speech because I wanted it to be so perfect. I did. But again, I'm forgetting that I'm in a class to learn, and so when I gave this great presentation, or so I thought, I actually scored the very lowest of the entire class. My ego was shattered because of how many hours I practiced. I even looked in the mirror and practiced over and over and over again so I wouldn't make a mistake. Where was the mistake? It's because I wasn't being Sandra. I wasn't being authentically me. So take that for what you will, but I think our beauty can shine when we're really us. You don't have to be anybody else. It's a great okay to make mistakes because people can see themselves in you. And the most difference we can make is just being ourselves. So, anyways, That's my story of flying, and I'm sticking to it. Next, we're gonna move over to the song Titanium, and yeah, that was a cool start of our song or of our Sunday gathering today. After we've been lifted and shown our own safety, we make a profound discovery. This song is the realization that the strength wasn't just external, it was inside of us all along. We learn that we are not as fragile as we thought. So, here's some questions to marinate in for our discussion. What is your titanium core? What's the difference between our human feelings, which can get hurt, and our unbreakable spirit? And what's a practical way to remember we are bulletproof when we faced negativity? Over to you, Tim.
Wow, that's a big one. I'm focusing on that bulletproof one. Are we ever bulletproof? We can become more bulletproof, that's for sure. It's like the toughening of the skin. It's a little bit of getting to the point where it doesn't matter if they say that or if they do that, I know who I am. So it's that strength of knowing who you are. That's what we aim to build up, and that gives us that confidence and makes us feel as strong as titanium that we could, walk into any kind of wind, whether it was even a hurricane, and we could just keep on going. As I say that, it's no, I feel coming back to knowing who I am. Um, as you know, Sandra, and some of the people will know that my dad passed during this year within the last few months, and there's a lot that can happen there. A different person. I was a different person then as I was even a couple of years ago. Would I be able to hold that and handle that as well as I think it went, and still going through grieving, of course. Um, I was stronger now. And I think we tend to get stronger as we go through our experiences. We kind of build up that resilience. We get to know who we are, what does not belong to us. Because sometimes we like to carry things that beat us down, that make us feel less about ourselves. And so many times those things are just stuff that we're carrying that really either doesn't matter or isn't even ours to begin with, and we just somehow have picked it up. It's like, I'm alluding to another Christmas Carol, where he's got all those chains and lockets. We're holding on to all that stuff that isn't even ours. We can just snip that if we have that awareness and go into that. I do believe it takes a lot of bravery if we want to go into that titanium at a more advanced stage or a quicker stage. It will happen, but we have to face it head on. We have to be brave. We have to be willing to look at our pluses and our minuses and realize, yeah, I'm human. I'm made up of all of those things, but I want to concentrate on the pluses. What is it I want to do? And the big thing that I'll end on, I think, is why wait? I'm feeling this now. I feel like it's uncomfortable being in this situation, and I want to be titanium. I want to be more confident. Well, then do something now. It is the time because you are feeling that feeling of uncomfortableness. So examine that. Why am I feeling uncomfortable? And how can I get out of that? Because I would really love to be confident. And the more confident we can become like titanium, the more of help we can be to others because we've made ourselves strong in the process, probably first. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm reminded of something I say all the time on my interviews, podcasts, is there's three fears that human beings share. One is the fear of being alone, one is the fear of dying, and one is the fear of failure. And they're all illusions because we don't die. Life is an education for our soul, right? Our soul goes on. Someday we'll close our eyes, we'll open them, our loved ones and pets will be there, and we're still us. We can never fail ever because the more actually of failure or failure type things, the closer we are to success and the more we learn and the more we can share. Death is an illusion and we are never alone. We've got these silent, this cheering squad around us, whether it's our soul, our loved ones, our guides, whatever you want to call it. So for me, again, this is just telling one on myself. Yeah, I stay plugged in with interviews and Sunday gatherings and stuff to help me remember that even in the darkest days, there's a bigger picture. Now, I know you see me every Sunday with this big old smile on my face, but I go through some tough times, and there's family stuff and health stuff and all kinds of things. But then I'm able to put it back into perspective, right? Nah, this is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to share. Yeah, come on, Sandra. I interviewed a fellow not too long ago named Peter Alessandria. He's a filmmaker, and there's a new film that he's got. You can pay a couple dollars to watch it. It's called Every Soul Knows, everysoulknows.com. And he interviewed a whole bunch of people about some spiritual truths and afterlife and stuff. But in the interview, he said he went to his either 8-year-old or 11-year-old niece's play, and they're all singing and dancing, and he says, you look at them, and some of them are not turning the right way and all that, and everybody's still cheering and clapping. I mean, just, loving them even for their imperfections. And if we can each imagine that that love for us in the unseen world is cheering for us the very same way, there's no right or wrong way to do life. It's just our way. We try to be the best we can. We try to learn, but there's dark, there's light, but I just want everybody to just imagine the love for you from those beings in the unseen world that you will see again, even your own soul on its path. They're cheering for you like those little kids. You might do the ballet the wrong way around. And, there's even that one video of the girl that just kind of comes out and, everybody else is doing the routine and she's dancing her whole other dance. Whatever way that is for you, just be yourself, let your light shine, and know that there is just so much incredible love. And I think that's where our titanium comes from. So, with that, let's move on to another song. Now, this is going to be the last song we hear today. It's Tom Petty's I Won't Back Down. Now that we know our own strength, we can make a conscious choice. This song is about applying that newfound resilience. It's no longer about being a victim, it's about actively standing our ground. So, here's some questions. How does the feeling of this song differ from the feeling in the song Rescue? It's a shift from passive hope to active strength, isn't it? What does it look like for you to not back down in your daily life without being aggressive or angry? How does knowing we are eternal souls give us the courage to stand firm against any earthly challenge? Over to Tim.
Oh, that's good. And I have to tell you, that song, and I won't back down, that comes up and it'll pop into my head in the moments that I tend to need it. Because it's just, I can remember sitting in the car behind the wheel, getting a little worried about having to do something probably in front of people, which does make me nervous, presentation or whatever it was. But knowing it was good for me, better for me than not doing it, that's how I kind of convinced myself at the time. And then I just start going, and I won't back down, and I won't back down. So it's that inner drive. And part of the reasoning behind that is here I've worked hard to get to this point. And why would I back down? So suppose in everyday life, I've worked hard for my home or my job or for my family or whatever it is to feed the family. I work hard for that. So why would you back down? Like there's the driving, the motivation. Um, we're looking for something better. It's that inner strength that we sometimes have to summon up. And that's where that power needs to kind of come to us. And sometimes I do need to take that breath and actually physically take that inhale and just hold it and say, okay, gear up. We're in this for good. I wanted to go this way. Let's go for it. It's going to be risky. It might get a little messy, but even if it does, what's the worst that could happen? And on the other hand, too, who else cares? In the broad scheme of things, I'm going to do the best that I can and come um, fail, or I'm trying to get a good expression I can say on here, come fail or achieve. Um, it's going to be, and I will get something out of it. I will have learned something and hopefully maybe brought someone along with me. Always looking for the healing part of it, whether it's for myself or others as well. That's kind of cool. That's new to me personally, looking at things that way. So I love exploring and examining that. So in not backing down, how is that mantra feeding that sort of new outlook or new mindset that I'm trying on so that I can include with me or decide I don't want? I think I'm going to include it with me. Yeah, and just it's the go for it time. And even in the darkest moments, I think there's that switch where we're feeling things are really not going well. And yet in us, there's that spark where we know there's something beyond this awful feeling. And that's where that drive starts, the click number one. And you start realizing, yeah, actually, I am a good person. I work hard at this. Click. There's number two. And I love to support people. I need to support some family members, maybe. Click. And those clicks start happening faster and faster, and the drive comes and and you just go for it. And come, you know where or high water, you're gonna do it and go for it.
Thanks, Tim. For me, when I think of I won't back down, I think of getting older, and there's something that happens when we're older that my thoughts seem to be more on loudspeaker. And when I used to be embarrassed when people would say certain things, now I don't care, you know? And I think as human beings, we are all a little bit trapped. Some of our earliest memories of things going wrong, we make decisions about ourselves. We're not good enough. We're not smart enough. Nobody loves me. You know, you think of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Well, woe is me, right? Well, we buy into that. We can buy into that for our entire life. And it's just the reminder that that's not who we are, that our dreams matter, our voice matters, and so I think for me, and it is something I'm learning through practice and age, that my feelings matter, my ideas matter. You know, you guys, again, you might look at me and somebody told me this past week, you know, oh, you've got everything, you've got it all together, you know, you got the radio show and you got a book and a big Sunday gathering. And I'm thinking, spend a day in my shoes. I've got every bit of self doubt and criticism that everyone does. But then when I start to share, especially sharing things that are empowering me, that's when the titanium shows up. That's when the love shows up. That's when the silent rescuers show up. And that's when this I won't back down shows up. Because who I am now is a stand for everyone to know how incredible you are and that your life matters and that you are not alone. So, with that, let's go on to our next song. This is actually the next song we're going to hear. It's Imagine Dragons on Top of the World. So, this is our victory lap. After asking for help, surrendering, discovering our strength, and standing firm, we arrive at a place of joy. This song is the celebration of that entire journey. So, here are a few questions to ponder. Why is it so important to acknowledge our journey and celebrate how far we've come? How do you think our loved ones in spirit share in these moments of joy with us? And what do you think being on top of the world means to you now, having walked through the darkness? Tim?
Mm. I know I would honestly say there's lots of times I have trouble acknowledging I'm at the top of the world. And in fact, when I am, I may not even notice I'm at the top of the world. You know, when you're having such a great time that you don't notice that you're in an amazing time until you're not, in a sense, then you realize that that would have been the ideal time to celebrate that moment. Maybe that's human nature. I'm not sure. Uh, I do know that getting rid of the need to be perfect, which many of us go through and I look at again and again and again, helps us to sort of reach beyond um, the need to hold ourselves back so we can appreciate being on top of the world. And getting there, lots of times we won't give ourselves a pat in the back that we deserve that again, we've worked hard to get to that point. Um, Everything that has gone, this is a belief of mine, everything that has gone on in my own life, I can only speak for myself, has made me who I am today. All the good, all the bad, all the things that I still need to look at, all the things I've looked at and worked hard on. journaled, or I kind of hate to journal, so I'm going to say mental process journal. um, those play a role even today. And in the field now that I'm working in, they play a vital role because I can experience what that's like for others. I get a sense of that feeling. It increases our empathy, it increases our sympathy. I feel by acknowledging all the good and bad from the past, we're able to be more in tune with others and being able to recognize maybe what they need, what they don't need, what they may need to hear, what they don't need to hear. Again, it's in that sliding dial, right? There are times it's in that middle zone um, versus saying too much and saying too little. So I do value all of those things. The most negative things, I'm pretty lucky. I don't have very many at all, are there, but for the most part, were not my responsibility. So, as I mentioned earlier, if we look at those things that are really bothering us, I do feel we can carry them with us lightly if we shed the need to think we own that. So have a good look at those things. Those things are holding us back. And again, I'm going back to that drive. Like do it now. If you're having that thought process and you're thinking that, why not do it now? And why not go into those classes or take that risk and get out in front of people if that makes you nervous, but it's something that you could be of value for others as well as your own personal growth. And there I just kind of went all over the place again for that answer, but there you go.
I love it. Everybody's thinking about their own things too, and we're all over the map. That's just the nature of being human. And speaking of the nature of being human, we're always looking at what's wrong, and we're thinking about the past, we're looking at the future. We're never celebrating our victories, and that's just by nature of being human. It's not our fault. However, I do think it's important to celebrate our wins and feel that on top of the world. If I asked everybody now, I won't do this now, but do it later, grab a piece of paper, a big piece of paper, and write down your successes and your joys and your favorite memories and things you didn't think you could do and then you did. And just take time, maybe over a day or two or three, and just keep adding to it. All those things, those times you made a difference for another person. And all of a sudden you're going to say, holy cow, that's me, right? That's me. That's the person I'm being so hard on. Boy, that's a lot of stuff, and remember who that person is to fuel you going forward. We spend so much time worried about the future, but that person on that piece of paper can handle anything that comes its way. So, yes, celebrate. And also a little strategy I've mentioned before. If somebody's having a bad day, or you just want to be sure you have a great conversation with somebody, as you ask them some empowering things about their life, like, oh, you have kids. What was it like when your first child was born? Or how did you meet your loved one? Or where's your favorite vacation spot? What do you like to do to have fun? And it forces people to slow down, get in that present moment, and have that feeling of being on top of the world. So once they verbalize it, it's like a boomerang back and forth. Then all of a sudden you share a memory and then back and forth. And then all of a sudden, like everybody's on top of the world. So we need to slow down, I think, just to look back and say, yeah, I'm okay. Life is difficult. It is this journey for the soul, but I am not the same person I was in high school. Like look at how far I've grown. Look at the difference I've made, and celebrate you. So take time to be on top of the world. So, Tim, thank you for a very stimulating conversation. We're going to move on now, ladies and gentlemen, to our demonstration of mediumship. This is an opportunity for those in the unseen world to make themselves known. Now, during our Sunday gathering, there will be a handful of folks that may get a reading today, but I do believe that those folks from the spirit world are here for all of us. Just like hopefully there's something you could take from my words and Tim's words today for your life. Those in the spirit world, you'll get to see how close they are, how they still are part of people's lives. There might be a message that comes through. You never know what it may be. And you might say, gosh, I could use a little bit of that myself. So I think there's a grand poobah out there in the spirit world says, okay, for this Sunday gathering, this is the message coming through. They probably put the inspiration of the songs within Tim, who knows? And you'll hear some words that I think that you can pull towards you. So that being said, Tim, as our fabulous medium, he will work with the spirit world and whoever presents themselves, because we're real people when we transition, we're not balls of energy. But you'll hear Tim give a description, best to his abilities, of the spirit person that stepped forward, maybe who they are to you, maybe what they did for a living, maybe how they passed. You never know. We're still individuals, so they have the opportunity to share their description of themselves. So you'll hear Tim describe the spirit person that is with him. We want everybody to be on the edge of your seat. Is this your person? And when I say your person, it's somebody you know that is no longer walking this earth. It could be a friend, a family member, somebody you work with, someone distant. Sometimes they work in weird and wonderful ways. But as Tim is sharing, if you can understand all this information as your person, your soul gets that little tug like, hey, he's describing Bob, right? If you feel that way, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, this is an opportunity for everybody to find that raise hand button on your device and press it just to see how it works. You'll notice it goes from raise hand to lower hand, raise hand, lower hand. And why this is important is sometimes there's more than one person that can understand the information. And Tim will continue working. And if there's a piece of information you can't understand, well, then you'd hit the lower hand button. Because we have, close to 130 people with us here, it's important that you take all the information because, if Tim says, well, we got a mom in the spirit world, well, we're going to have almost all the hands go up. So we want to wait till Tim finishes and gives that description and then press our raise hand button if you can take all the information. And if no one raises their hand, we'll continue working to get closer information from the spirit world. So if you're the person that works with Tim today, I send a little magic signal over to you. You'll get a pop-up on your screen and an unmute button will appear. You'll be off camera. Don't worry about that. But we do like to hear your voice. And when I say that, all we need from you is a yes, no, or I don't know to the evidence that Tim gives you. Now, this goes for our Sunday gatherings or any medium demonstration you ever go to, or anytime you work with a medium one-on-one. Do us the favor, let the medium do the work. Just say yes, no, or I don't know, so that we all know that, yes, mediums really are in communication with our loved ones. We still can be in communication with them as well, but sometimes it's easier to hear through another person. Okay, so just yes, no, or I don't know. And don't feel bad about saying no. No simply means new opportunity. It's as simple as that. And then everybody else will be on the edge of our seats, pulling the information and the evidence towards us and the message and taking it on board, just like hopefully you've taken some things on board so far. So let me play that song for you, On Top of the World. And it's a nice opportunity to just feel that celebration with your loved ones. Picture them all in the room with you right now. How's that? I like it. So I'm going to do it. Here's our song. I'm feeling pretty on top of the world myself. Hi, Tim.
Hello. That's excellent. There. Do let me know if I'm getting a message that either the computer or I am unstable on occasion. So if anything happens in there, maybe it's both. I don't know. Just let me know so that everyone can hear clearly. But that's great. So I can just jump right in and remind you again, yes, no, or I don't know only really helps. That way we know who we have. And our goal here is for the healing and always proof of survival, that there are people who are on the other side. Absolutely. Now, as I'm saying that, I feel Father stepping forward, and Father was, and I want to talk to my daughter. Okay. So Father was one not to cut corners. There was a phrase in there, and as soon as it hit, I was inspired or impressed to talk about Dad who did not cut corners. And I do feel that it was adamant to him that you live true to your word, not just that he did, which he did, but he impressed upon his daughter specifically that be true to your word. And I feel that he was such a loving man that you would have had conversations, and I almost feel this is before a wedding, where he gives you those words of advice to stay strong and stay who you always are. And as I talk to wedding too, I'm getting more stuff here. I do feel he was crying at the wedding, just willing and freeing to cry at the wedding. and his touching moment. So I'll see how that goes for anyone in our audience who might be able to take that.
All right. Who, friends, can understand this information? Go ahead and press your raise hand button, please. As we wait patiently, very patiently. All right, Christine. Oh, your hand went up and it went down, Christine. Let's bring her. There she is. All right. Hi, Christine.
Hi, Sandra. Nice to hear from you.
Hi, Christine. And I do know you, but you could take all of that information.
I was trying to hold back and not
Right.
assume,
Yeah.
but it's like a puzzle and everything fits.
Yeah. Okay. Because definitely he's hitting hard about that not cutting corners, and he would not be one to. And I feel this is. He has a heyday. You'd understand that he referred to his youth with children in a very positive light.
Yes.
Yeah, and that seems to be the what he's bringing forth as the strongest memory as to how he was in his element, how he was truly himself, but still he would not cut corners. And I feel he must have been around the house too doing repairs.
No.
No, there's a sense of even with there's a memory of creating um something to put it feels like Christmas to put out on the lawn. Would you understand that?
No.
Okay. Just going to hold for a bit. If anyone else recognizes that, feel free to speak up. But I do know that in not cutting corners, he's being literal as well. He's, and I feel there's around the house work that he did, and I feel he was working with wood, and he's the type of person that would measure twice and cut once. Feel free to say no there.
I'm going to say no.
Okay, that's information that you can take for yourself. You've created your Christmas ornaments that would have gone out, and you're very careful about creating those.
I'm going to say no.
Okay. Sandra, can we check to see if there's anyone else? Thanks, Christine. Hang on for a second.
But we have Anne with her hand raised.
Okay, great.
Hi, Anne.
So Anne, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. You would understand all of that information?
I think so.
Okay. I'll just kind of do a recap because Dad really wants to take me back to the fact that he would be very careful about not cutting corners. Okay, and where he wants me to go next with that is that in uh, raising his children, he wasn't mean about it at all, but he would have addressed issues full on.
Yes.
Okay. Um, right, because inferring here that he could have overlooked a few things, but instead he addressed them head on.
Yes.
Okay, and I want to now go to where he was talking about the wedding. You would remember conversations referring to staying strong and being your own person. And this was prior to being married.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll see if that comes back into play again. But with the wedding, we did have him quite emotional.
Yes.
And I don't feel that he's necessarily the type that would have shown those emotions typically. And he wasn't an entire mess. I don't. He's not, you
Yes.
know that, but you could see that that was his little girl.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, and he's bringing me back to the having conversations about being strong. And I know he was a fine example of being a strong provider for the family.
Yes.
And he would have verbalized how important that is to be true to your word,
Yes.
even when it isn't necessarily easy. Um, the implication would be there to step up.
Yes.
And now he's referring to the fact that you do that. You have children as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and that from him, he's relaying that you are honest with them, and there are some moments where you've had to say it as it is.
Yes.
Yeah, and also that okay, and I feel there may be something current going on. This is from Dad, that wondering whether it's important enough to just let it go and step back, or whether to say it as it is. Would you understand that?
I don't know.
Okay. Because there is a sense that you are the type of person that will address it, but there are times in which there is that little bit of doubt as to whether you're correct 100% or not.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I'll see if he's referring to a specific, I have a feeling that with him that he's referring to you and your children. Um, Even though the children are grown. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good. Um, and they're still quite close.
Yes.
Yes, and just as you were close to your dad, there is that closeness there.
Yes.
I feel that there's a great deal of inner strength from dad as well. Um, he's not one who would have buckled under pressure.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, and would stand that storm and really face the storm head on. And I feel this is a relationship to providing for the family. He did some sacrifice in order to provide.
Yes.
And he's alluding that that has come round for almost full circle to you. You've had done some sacrifices. He's alluding that you keep quiet to yourself with your sacrifices.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, and from him, it's not that you need to speak up and make it broadcast wise. He just wants to kind of say that's okay from him. He's saying that's my girl. But kudos for standing in that sense of strength. Um, he is alluding to that you have a conversation that you're kind of holding on to addressing, and to he is in support of you making up your mind, looking at it. He's behind you 100%.
Okay.
And I feel this is with the family. One of the children is a son.
Yes.
Okay, he's referring directly to that. So keep that in mind if it's not quite landing at the moment, but he is referring to that conversation. And it feels like this relationship with the son is so strong that you could kind of say it as it is.
Okay.
So I'm going to say, just keep that in mind. That part's not evidential, but that's something that is coming from your dad as well.
Okay.
And I thank you. He is behind you 100%, so supportive of the way that you've become strong yourself. And thank you very much, Anne. I thank your dad.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Okay, and that was great. He's still quite a strong kind of character here. Now, as I go into the connection with spirit again, I feel mom coming through. Okay. I feel mom coming through. Her health at the end was fading more and more. I also feel that she didn't ask for um, help, assistance as much as she should have. And I do know I want to talk to daughter again. Um, I know from mom that we had a close connection, but there were many things, words that were left unsaid. And I feel like mom in her earlier years would have been appreciative. At the end of her life, she wasn't able to verbalize that. Um, and I would have to say that mom passed in hospital. And we'll put
Very
that out there.
All right. We have Bonnie with her hand raised. Bonnie, if you could find that unmute button. And then Yolanda also has her hand raised.
Okay.
Here's Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie.
Hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Bonnie. How are you doing?
Hi. Okay, okay.
Okay. If I can work with you for just a few minutes here, we'll see whether I know Mom was one generally not to ask for much.
Correct. Yeah, yes.
And I feel that she was very often self-spoken and even more so close to her passing. Do you understand?
Uh, could you repeat that one again?
Sure, that she was soft-spoken and even more so close to her passing.
Oh, yes. Uh,
Um, it almost feels as if she didn't want to make any ripples in anyone else's lives.
yes.
And she's taken me back to a time in which, and I feel this is earlier adulthood, the two of you would be able to sit down and enjoy tea specifically.
It, yes.
Tea and chats, it seems to be. Um, this is funny from Mom. She would be providing the cookies that were sometimes frozen still.
Uh, I don't know.
Okay, don't know about that. It feels that Mom would have made her own baking her own cookies though for those times.
Yes.
Yeah, and that she would, in a sense, this is more when she's when you're out of the house, of course, and as adults, she made more than was needed, and so she would refrigerate or freeze the rest.
Mm, yes.
Okay, that sounds kind of it's sort of an iffy yes. That's a kind of an important thing. We still have Bonnie only. Okay. We had another lady, but if she can't take that information, I do want to go back to the very first piece though, and that was how Mom, close to her passing, was not able to or did not express how she was feeling. She really kept to herself.
Yes.
Um, there's a sense from her that uh, she would have relayed that she wants to now just pass peacefully. Would you
Um,
understand that?
yes.
She's reiterating now that that's indeed what it was. It was one of the most gentle things and subtle things that she has experienced is what's coming through from her at the moment. There's a memory of hanging on to your mom's hand around that time.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, and it seemed like she wasn't aware of it, but boy, was she aware of it. Um, yeah, there's a very strong sense, even from the beginning of our time here, that there was so much that she had to be thankful for regarding yourself, and that she didn't get that chance to actually verbalize it. Um, the and she again wants to reiterate. There seems to be like there was some question as to I'm not sure what happens at this point, where I go, what's on the other side, so to speak. That there was questioning. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Yeah, and it feels even like conversations, but she became resolved to the fact it was happening. She's drawing me back to that feeling that she wants you to know it was so smooth and so subtle. It was just like shutting her eyes and opening them up on the other side.
Oh,
She,
thank you.
it's really
Yes.
important for her to let you know that. Um, there's always a sense of caring for you as a young girl. It feels very much that she would have been hands-on, even stroking your hair as a special daughter. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Yeah. And then as you got older, um, the wish or desire to do so, but I feel like from her that you wanted less of that tactile because, of course, you were growing up and you didn't want that. Um, but she would still be there and you could see and feel she emanated the love.
Yes.
Yeah. And she kept that all the way through. As quiet and subtle as she wanted to be, her presence was always felt. You could feel her in the room just because of that almost emanation.
Yes.
Yeah, she's also now referring that yes, you're right. She has been around you. She's making me aware that you have felt that feeling again. That's why she brought it up. and after her passing, and have wondered, and she's wanting to confirm that that is her back again, and she is around as they always are. They always are around us.
Yes.
So, Bonnie, I want to give you her deepest love and gratitude for everything you did, especially close to the end. And I thank your mom for coming through.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do one more, Tim.
Sure, that sounds great. Um, okay. I'm okay. Um, so I'm feeling the presence of a gentleman. Um, he's giving me things a bit differently, so I'm just trying to get my way through this. Okay, yeah. So this is a gentleman who passed as a young adult. By young adult, I would mean over 20. Um, and I do know that he was one that would be challenging, but in a good way. He wasn't just, devil may care kind of thing, although he could be that too. It's more like he deliberately would put you in situations or say things that would challenge the way that you thought and just made sure that you weren't complacent. That seems to be very important to him. I also know that this young man was someone that you grew up with because he's also going back in time to when he was it seems like a boy in his just preteen. So you would have known him from that time as well, because there's a lot of fun, a lot of play during that time. And I do believe I want to speak to a gentleman. So I'll try that first.
Thank you very much. Who understands this young man? Go ahead and press your raise hand button. Or thinks you do. Waiting patiently,
Hmm.
as we do.
I know there's someone out there because he's someone out there in our audience this is for, because I have that feeling. Just going to recap again. So it's a gentleman who passed in his younger adult years, over the age of 20. This is someone that you would have grown up with, and he was someone who liked to challenge people, but hmm, challenge his friends. I'm going to word it that way. Challenge his friends to be on their best, kind of on their top of the world in a sense. What I will take away is in wanting to talk to another gentleman. So I'm going to open that up and say this is a connection there.
All right. We have Tina with her hand raised. Thank you, everybody, for listening in to gotta get to the right person. Hi, Tina.
Hi,
Hi, Tina. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you.
Great. And you understood all the information?
I did until you said you wanted to talk to a gentleman.
Right. Okay. I feel that's going to come back a little bit later, so no worries. And you're definitely not a gentleman, so we're working what we have. Okay. This guy I feel was a riot to be around.
Yes,
I also feel he had his troubles though.
yes,
Um, and at times it was hard to tell which way he was going to go. Was he just being a little bit of a devil, or was there something darker?
yes,
And when he was just a little bit of a devil, he was so fun to be around.
yes,
Yeah, and I feel he's drawing me back to that young boy image he had of himself, a young boy almost in striped shirts and shorts. He would have been um, just all over the place. Yeah, like he's active, 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 active,
yes,
but engaged with people. It feels like I need to have an audience, pretty much.
yes,
Okay, and it began even back then. Um, Now there is okay. He's I'm kind of listening a little bit more. You are aware of a boy that would have grown up with him.
yes,
Okay. That's the boy he wants to allude to. So from him, I'm getting the sense that he wants to make sure that, if possible, to pass along this information to him as well. Um, but I'm going to go back to that just delightful person. He doesn't need to talk about the dark things at all, the things that were troublesome. He doesn't need to do that. That's not important. I'm getting from him. Instead, he wants this time to relay in having his audience, he valued um, what he learned. He valued the conversations. So I know that he's a gentleman that would have actually listened really well and
Yes.
contributed fully. You knew you had his full attention
Yes.
during those times, because there are other times in which he's kind of way off and just in his own kind of world, so to speak. Um, but those conversations were meaningful and they were with you. Would you understand him as son?
Yes.
Okay, because he's wanting to say that, Mom, you taught me so many really important things that didn't sink in at the time, but really made a lot more sense as time went on. Um, that's sorry, just directly from him, not quite evidential, but from that, I'm saying that you must have had those good, deep conversations trying to um, corral, if I can use that word, his energy.
Yes.
Yes. Um, although there are times that he didn't express verbally how much he got out of that, it was in his eyes. His eyes could tell when it had sunk home, when it had made sense to him.
Yes.
Um, okay, there's a sorry in here as well. And he's also mentioning that the tears, he's sorry about the tears that he's caused, and specifically in the passing. He feels responsible for that. Um, I'm also, though, getting the sense that he would take on more responsibility than actually was his. Would you understand
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Yes.
So that he would take on blame, and actually he would defend others, even if it meant he suffered by it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, a very upstanding guy. Um, I know from him too, I feel that some people didn't stick around long enough to really know who I was, but those that did, it was such a wealth of companionship, I would say.
He never met a person that didn't become a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know he's giving the sense, though, that there were some who were repelled by his energy, but that didn't matter. He would cling on to the ones that he felt that he really connected to. And
Yes.
his his expression, his emotions often became verbalized. He didn't hold stuff back, which was part of his charm, part of his, you knew what he was thinking, but also it was kind of tough at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and there's a sorry there for the challenges he put you in with him. He does want to go back to just before he goes here, he just wants to go back to the uh, young man that would have grown up with him as well. Um, oh, okay. Um, Great feeling of protection with him. There's a back and forth. I'm protecting you. You're protecting me. I've got your back. You've got my back. And if you can relay, he's just opened that up. Please pass along to him that he still has his back.
Will do.
That's really important for him to pass to get that through. It feels like you already know that, but it's good for you to hear that too. It's the other young gentleman who could value that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And again, as previously, he's around. He's giving me the sense that you know when he's around. Um, and I feel that's by noise. There's something that is like a crack or a crash or something that seems or something falls over and you're not quite sure why. It's that extra energy that he always had. He he seems to kind of be able to bring that through and create a little incident. And yeah, that's him when you're wondering.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Tina, and
Thank
I
you.
thank your son for coming through.
Thank you.
Good. Take care. Thank you, Sandra.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Thank you for being here. Thank you for donating your time. Friends, if you want to find out more about our dear friend Tim, you can just go to psychicmediumtim.com. He's one of the few out there, and we're trying to insist that all mediums in the world offer that 10-minute guarantee. You should know that your loved one is with you in the first 10 minutes of a reading. If not, don't pay. Reading comes to an end. Thank you for having that integrity, Tim. Tim comes to us and has been involved with our training. Our friends Carrie McLeod and Phil Dykes will be back with us next week as mediums and joining me probably on the address. There's a new class that just started, The Gentle Path to Spirit. Whether you want to be a medium or not, I think it's always of such value to take a course and just see how the soul and the spirit world communicates. It's just a very gentle one coming through your feelings, your imagination, and it's not your imagination, it's them. So you can find everything we have coming up at wedon'tdie.com. Just click on the store page, including our next week's Sunday gathering, other courses, other events, etc. It's all there. You can watch past Sunday gatherings. For our friends who have left a donation on our Sunday gathering page, a warm thank you for helping us keep it going. We're going to keep it going forever and ever. And well, we're going to do our very best to anyways. So we're here for that. And just if you can imagine, those in the spirit world use their thoughts to communicate. When it's our time to go, have you ever given any thought what evidence you would give a medium to say, it's me? So that might be something to think about. And as far as just some closing words from me for the week, you saw the journey through these songs, really about the need maybe to be rescued, and then finding our own inner spirit and surrendering and trusting and not backing down, is a song we're just about to hear. But just to know that your voice matters, you're one of a kind. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Comparison is the thief of joy. They say you are one of a kind. Your voice matters, you matter. And most importantly, remember those kids on the stage getting all twisted up in their dance, and everybody's still loving them and cheering them on. That's how the spirit world feels about you and me. We're doing the best we can. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Tim for our closing prayer.
Thanks again, Sandra, and thanks for inviting me to be here. Great. So as we bring this to a close, again, I invite you to close your eyes. And we give thanks that we're able again to have experienced all the thoughts, all the emotions, everything that's made us decide that, yes, I can move forward. Yes, I am in control of myself. Yes, I wish to be the most that I can. We'll try to be our best. We won't be perfect, but it is who we are and who we want to explore that will drive us to the next step of who we can be. And we give thanks that we can experience this. Amen.
Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you to our friends, you guys and gals, wherever you are, and certainly to our friends in the spirit world. So we're going to just top this off. Cherry on the cake is Tom Petty. I won't back down. Let this be your mantra for the week, that you matter. Here we go. Nope, we won't back down. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. And thanks again to Tim and everyone. Big hugs, big hugs. And remember, your friends around you in the spirit world, don't back down. You matter. We love you. We'll see you again soon. Bye.